welcome to another episode of Shooting
the Shit with Rachael
and Neal Youngs. We're talking all things real estate photography business growth, mindset, and getting it done. Here come your favorite true entrepreneurs, Rachael and Neal Young, shooting the shit.
I have a ferret on the Like if we're kind of in a slump, like what kind of things do you do?
Talking about a boob light.
Straddling a power line.
Nice photo.
Ooh, I need that.
I'm like red right now because I'm embarrassed. I go like this. I love it.
Come in.
Sure, use your podcast voice.
Over here, I'm pitting out.
Drone's like flipping to the ground.
That's a great callback.
Chit-chatting.
Is that what you call that? Hey!
Rach, who do you love?
HD Photo Hub.
Today's episode is brought to you by HD Photo Hub.
The platform real estate photographers trust.
And so do we, because Rach and I both use it on a daily basis. Check it out. Check it out.
Check it out.
Welcome to the podcast, everyone. If I sound a little sniffly, it's because I'm a little sniffly. Just getting over being a little sick. So me and the daughter. But it's a good timing, I'd say, for talking about what we're talking today, which is getting back to your roots, your why, and things like burnout, which is how I feel a little bit right now. And maybe getting a little off track and how you can kind of refocus and get back on track. Right, Rach?
Right. Yes. No, I'm excited to talk about this topic because I think this is an important one for all of us to remember kind of where we came from and why we started what we started, because it's very easy to get a little bit derailed and forget why you're doing what you're doing. And your why is super important to keep you going and to keep you focused and maintain that momentum that you need to keep building your business.
So here's the thing. You can get so caught up in your business that you're just driven in one direction, and you can get focused on one or 1,000 things and then kind of find yourself in a place that maybe you weren't even intending to head to. So you can get off track and you can kind of go, wait, how did I get here? And do I even like what I'm doing right now? And you can even just have that feeling like, I don't think I like what I do anymore. Why did I even set out doing this in the first place? And that's when it's time to kind of reassess and pause for a minute. And if you're not there yet, think about it now before you're heading in your direction, before you get too far off track. And it's especially easy when things get super busy, or it's easy when things are super slow and you can disconnect and you can kind of focus on all the wrong things because you panic. So there's a lot of reasons to kind of consider the things we're going to talk about today.
Yeah. And I think we've both been on both ends of the spectrum there.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And luckily we have each other to kind of bounce off each other once in a while. And you might not hear it all the time on the podcast, but it's not the only time we talk. We'll call and just be like, hey, I'm having a crap day, or just pops up in conversation. And, there's things that come up. So it's nice to have somebody to bounce things off of. So if you don't have somebody to bounce things off of, try to find somebody, a friend who can confide in. You might find that there is someone who's looking for that resource too, just somebody to chat with, like-minded in business or something like that, who might have been through similar things, who can relate. And sometimes you can kind of help head each other back in the right direction, or just nod your head like, yeah, I get that. Sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah. It's nice to have someone in your corner for sure. Yeah. So once you've made it in your definition of success, which we're going to talk about that next, it just can be easy to get wrapped up in that success and kind of forget where you came from, forget your roots. And so we're going to dive into it. Everybody's definition of success varies, right? I know a lot of people, their definition of success is when they're making $1 million, or when it's money driven, right? When they're making a certain amount of money, they're going to be successful. something I have to say about that. The more money you make, the more money you usually spend, which increases the amount of money that you have to make. Speaking from experience, like, I'd be like, "Oh, she's so successful because she makes all this money," and it's like, "Yeah, now I have giant bills, and I'm like still struggling to get by." I
Yeah.
mean, I'm fine, but you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah. No,
can
more money, more
easily,
problems is because, yeah, you've got more
yes.
bills, you got more things you got to take care of. You've got, who knows, you might eventually get a vacation house. You might eventually
Mhm.
invest in schools for your kids. I mean, gosh, my buddy was talking to me about this school for his daughter. It's a high school, and the tuition for this school, 70 grand a year,
Oh my,
right?
for
So if you
high
didn't have
school.
money, you'd never
Jeez.
consider that. If you have a
Yeah.
little money, now all of a sudden you're like, well, maybe we could figure it out one way or another. And then you don't have money. So yeah, more
Yeah.
money, more problems, right? So you might have said your first job, if I made 50 grand a year, then your second job, oh, if I made 70 grand,
Mhm.
then your third job, if I made 100 grand or whatever, as your business grew, you know. But once you get there, you go, huh, geez.
Yeah.
I thought I'd have more money in this, or because maybe you're trying to grow your business and then you've got things that outstretched for equipment or for paying employees and all this kinds of stuff. So
Yeah. And
so yeah.
defining your success by your income is really like a slippery slope and dangerous because it will always increase. Like you'll never get there,
Yeah.
unless you're like multimillionaire, I feel like, because you're just going to keep spending and finding new things to invest in or whatever. So I just feel like there's got to be a deeper definition of your success. So
Yeah.
I just listened to a podcast and it was talking about the definition of success. And it was saying
Mm.
that this NFL coach, he passed away. And at his funeral, his daughter got up to speak and she was like, "Yeah, I really don't have much to say because my dad wasn't really there for me." And like he had other
Yeah.
people who got up and spoke at his funeral and they were saying he was such a good coach and a good leader. And like he took the team to the Super Bowl and like all these great things, but his own daughter, his own family had nothing to say about him because he wasn't there for her. Like, so
Yeah.
and I don't know what his definition of success
Right.
was, but he probably thought that he was very successful because he led this team to the NFL. He was well known in the industry. He was obviously leading a team in the right direction, being a good leader, but his home life was suffering. So it's interesting to think about like one way to really define what success is to you is to think about what would people say about you at your funeral? Like,
Hmm.
and
Exactly.
that's something that, you can even ask your friends, like take a little poll and be like, "Hey, like, what's your definition of success? What do you see that I do that's successful?" Like, just kind of take that poll and see what they would say about you because it could be interesting to get that feedback.
Yeah. And your definition can and will evolve,
Hmm.
right?
Totally.
Because when I first quit my waiting job, well, when I first was trying to do the business, my definition of success was going to be that I was going to do it full time. And then I did it full time. And then my definition changed that that wasn't success.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. And so then it changed to I want to make, 100K this
Hmm.
year, in the business and revenue, not in my pocket, but I was like 100K. If I can do that, that'll be success. And I did that. And it was like, okay, that's not it. you know? So yeah,
I'm
the
still
money,
not
it's
happy, dang it.
right. The money
Yeah.
is it's so easy to have that become the main focus. It is a big goal. It is a big, you gotta, you have to have these aspirations, but you've got to make sure that you don't get so focused on that you end up losing the why. And the
Yes.
why it was I wanted to do photography instead of wait tables was because waiting tables wasn't making me feel fulfilled. And a lot of people, I have friends that wait tables that it does fulfill them. They feel great. They love the job. When they do that job, they get to interact with people. One of my friends is one of the best waiters on the planet I've ever seen in my life, and he loved it because every day he did that. That was like his family when customers came in. So he felt fulfilled. It was different for me. I never felt like it was what I wanted to do, and it never felt great to me. So when I started doing photography, that was a different feeling. The why was how great it made people feel and how great it felt to provide something that I valued, that
Hmm.
I thought was of value to them. And so that made me happy. Now, what I think also can happen is when you're trying to grow your business, you can get farther and farther away from any of that direct contact too. If that was part of your why, you can disconnect. And so you may have to reassess, or you may have to find ways to tap in to feel that way, or find alternate venues. Maybe you're making enough money that there's some other why that you can tap into that's still hits your core of what you want that tombstone to read, or what you want the people to say about you when you do pass away. And I do think about that. It is really helpful. The what do you want people to say about you when you're gone? It really does help you reassess and go, oh yeah, because yeah, at the end of the day, his goals might have been different. He might have really owned his most important family might have been that football team. And so maybe he was successful to himself. But for me, yeah, it wouldn't matter much if my family wasn't proud of me.
Right. Like no one's going to go to your funeral and be like, oh, he had the best business and he made so much money. Like that's not what they're going to say about you. They're going to say like, oh, she was always willing to help, or always inspiring people, or, you know, she's always willing to lend a helping hand. Like I always learned so much from her or him or whatever. You know, it's going to be something that's deeper than money and the business and the success. So it's really about like, yes, your business is important and we obviously need money to survive. And there's nothing wrong with having big goals and wanting to make good money, but it's about having a good balance between your work life and your personal life, and making sure that you're remembering why you're making all this money, why you're working so hard in your business, and then taking time to enjoy the people that are around you, your relationships, go on those trips and vacations, and just being able to detach from that business is really important for your overall well-being and that feeling of success.
You know what else is funny too is some people might have an opposite reaction to making money. It's funny, a lot of us don't feel we are deserving of success, and that can disconnect you from it as well. But if you can find a way to realize that with success, as you make success, it opens doors for you to help others potentially. So if you can accept that, hey, in order for me to do more good in the world, I need some resources here, because it's a lot harder to help 100 people with $1 than it is with $1 million. So if you can kind of embrace that, like, you know what, if I am successful in this, not only can I do good in my business, but there might be other venues that could open up, and who knows what they are, that I could also go forward and do great things as well. That might also help you tap into your why, just for why you even want to succeed with your business. It's a funny thing, money. You want it and you don't. You're guilty if you have it, though. You know, it's no, weird.
You're not. Well, see, I have a different mindset around money, but guess what? It took me time and reading books and understanding, like, it's okay to want money. It's okay to have money. It doesn't make you a bad person when you have money. It just amplifies who you are at your core. So if you're naturally a piece of poop, then you're going to be that when you're rich. But if you're a good person deep down, it's just going to amplify that when you're rich.
Well, I've always had a fear of money, Rachel. I've always had a fear of money corrupting, like, wait, what? And corrupting people and changing them, and also not as much about myself, because I've never been afraid of who I am, that like I would turn into a monster one day, but more of a fear of how it would affect my family and my children. Especially, I always thought about that when I was younger, when I was wanted to go to Hollywood and be an actor. I was worried that if I became wealthy and my children grew up wealthy, would they not be grounded? Would I be able to raise them still in a way that they would be grounded and not be spoiled and rotten and bad, not great people? And if you have money, there was a fear for me of a separation between the things I currently loved if I was a famous actor, right? It's a funny thought, but I had a fear of success, of becoming a famous actor. One of the reasons I feared it was because I feared it would affect my relationships and the things I loved, like doing summer camp. I was worried I probably wouldn't ever be able to do it again if I was famous. It would totally change how I could be a part of that camp anymore, because it wouldn't be the same. I wouldn't just, you know what I mean? There'd be this, oh, he's somebody thing that changes everything. So it's a funny thing, right? Yeah. you can cut yourself short before you even get there. And here's a great part about interesting thing to think about. This is kind of off track, but to think about in that story is that I was so worried about that summer camp somehow not being able to be a part of it if I ever was so successful in acting and comedy. And several years later, the camp got shut down and we could never get it going again. You don't get to even choose that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
go after your joy and go after your love, and don't let those fears stop you, because they definitely can slow you down at the very least.
Yeah. So I was raised with, like, my parents were pretty average income parents. I mean, we were very fortunate. My mom's a hairdresser and my dad worked at the shipyard. So, I mean, they didn't make a ton of money, but we were able to have horses, and my mom put all of her money into that. My parents had a weird financial like agreement. They split everything 50-50. And this was my dad's like doing. He wanted everything was 50-50. Even though he made more than her, they'd go out to dinner, it would be split in half. Like, and my dad, so they've divorced when I was 16, and my dad's remarried twice. He's now on his third wife, and they're super happy. They're amazing. They're great together. I love her. And he's finally like really genuinely happy, which is really cool to see him this happy. But he still has this same financial agreement with his new wife. Like, they literally have a notepad that they write in. They go out to dinner together. I mean, they're going to die together. They go out to dinner together and they write down the total for dinner, and they square up at the end of every week, like how much each other owes each other, like down to the penny. It's so weird. So like, and I'm like, you guys live together, you have the same bills. Like, why aren't you just merging? And, but to each their own. But anyways, with that being said, like I got $100 a year for school clothes. And then my mom made me clothes. Like, I wore my dad's old jeans. Like, grungy clothes were in style in the 90s. So it worked out. But like, all of our money went to horse riding clothes and events that we went to and horse shows and stuff. So we really didn't have a lot of extra money for anything outside of that, which, I mean, that was a great childhood. I wouldn't trade it for anything. But as like I started raising my kids and I started making more money and I was able to spoil them, I started like thinking like, oh gosh, I started realizing they would expect things like at Christmas, they'd expect all these big things. And I'm like, oh no, am I spoiling them too much? Like, maybe I need to implement some kind of like earning system where they can earn some money, because I had to work hard for all my money. Like, I paid for pretty much everything. Parents bought me a car. I had to pay my gas and my insurance. I had to buy all my own clothes once I got to high school. Like, I had to pay for a third of my college, which, I mean, at the time kind of sucked. But now looking back, I'm like, that taught me financial responsibility and I appreciate that. But I'm like, I don't want to just like spoon feed my children to where they don't think that they have to work hard for things. So for me, it's like, I want to make sure I'm instilling these values into my kids too. I've pulled back in the last couple years, like through COVID, it was just insane. And like money was just rolling in. I was like, this is great. Yes, we can go do this. Yes, let's buy this. Yes, let's go to dinner. Yeah, get the milkshakes. I don't care. Like just throwing it around like it was nothing. Take them to Nordstrom and just let them spend $300 on clothes or something, which is obnoxious for like a 10-year-old, like, whoa. But now I'm like, no, you can't get a milkshake at dinner. I'm like, that's an extra like $7 each. Like, no, I'm not spending $75 on dinner. Like, let's keep it around 50, kids. Like, come on. I'm just trying to be a little bit, and that's so silly, but it's like trying to teach them a little bit more of like the value of money and how quickly it does go, and my daughter the other day, she's 11 years old, and she was like, Mommy, how much money do you make? How much money does daddy make? Because, I just looked and it was going to cost like $1,000 for us to go on this trip. And she's like, and then we had to get a new garage door, and that's like another $1,000. And then this, and I'm like, honey, we make enough money to cover all these expenses. Like, it's okay. She's just like blown away with how expensive life is, and I'm like, it's not cheap, honey. You have to have a good job. Like, you have to save your money. And she's my little saver. She does a really good job. My son, on the other hand, just like spends. I get these like Apple Pay requests all the time. I'm like, I'm not giving you $5 for candy. Anyways, the point of the story is like, I kind of worried about that too. Like, how am I raising my kids? Am I going to raise them to be spoiled brats?
Right.
And I'm not. I'm doing a good job. Like, I'm teaching them to say please and thank you. I'm teaching them to be respectful of other people's stuff. Like, they're very good, respectful kids. And I think that just comes from your parenting. Like, it doesn't matter how much money you have. You can decide to raise them to be respectful and kind and, respect the dollar, or you can give them everything they want and just feed them money to shut them up and give them a tablet and, call it good. It's
That's
really
right.
about being involved, I think, and teaching them those life lessons as they come up,
And
that really
that's,
makes them better people when
yeah.
they're
And I think
older.
it's all part of that balance too, right? Because if you
Mm-hmm.
are so involved in the business that you really don't have a hand in it and you're just passing it off to whomever, who knows. But I grew up in a fairly wealthy town too, and we had struggles while we were growing up though, and we did see a lot of the other kids that were spoiled. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's partly where the fear comes, because you see, like, I remember just being blown away. My sister had a friend and she's like, oh yeah, she just writes a list of everything she wants and she gets every single thing on the list.
Yeah.
And
You're
I'm
like,
like,
what?
we were like, what? Like,
I
she could
want to
just
live
write
there.
whatever and she gets it. Like, she could write
That's
100
crazy.
things from the Gap and she gets it. Yep.
Jeez.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, but yeah, so something to consider when you're thinking about all this money stuff. But another piece of this is the burnout factor. Maybe we can talk a
Mm-hmm.
little bit about that. So you get so driven and you're heading in that direction, that this whole disconnection, I think this can happen a lot too with growth too, that the disconnection can happen where you just get away from your clients and you get away from some of your best practices that maybe you started doing because you knew you had to do it to survive. But once you start doing better, you kind of let some of these things go. Like, maybe you're not following up as much. Maybe you're not doing as many of the touches, like the email touches or a phone call here and there. And so you get disconnected, you burn out, and then you realize at some point that maybe you're not standing on as solid of ground as you thought you were.
Yeah. Or you're like grinding so hard because you're trying to build your business. So you're working 110 hours a week for 3 years straight, and you get completely disconnected from your
Yeah.
why and why you're doing what you're doing. And this happened to
Yeah.
me like 2 years ago. I was totally burnt out. Well, I guess it was like only a year ago. Was that last year? But like through the COVID rush, it was just insane. And all I did was work, very little
Yeah.
time to myself. And then I like last winter just got into a deep dark hole. I didn't want to do anything. And burnout can take the form of like, it can start emotionally and then it can manifest into
Mm-hmm.
physical ailments like fatigue and, a complete exhaustion. Like one of my
Yeah.
girlfriends went through burnout about 6 months before I did. And maybe she like made me manifest it, but she was telling me about it. And I was like, I think I have early signs of burnout. She's like, be careful. And I was like,
Mm,
okay, whatever. I'm just going to keep working hard. And then it got to the point where like, I literally didn't want to shoot anymore. And I was stuck.
yeah.
I had to, because I didn't have enough shooters to step out. I wasn't enjoying shooting. I wasn't enjoying doing what I was doing at all. And a
Yeah.
big part of me getting back on track was just like setting boundaries. Like we had a whole episode on this. We don't need to go
Yeah.
too far into it. If you want to hear that one, I don't know what episode it is. We'll put it in the description below. But a big part of it was just taking time for myself and setting boundaries with my clients so that I wasn't
Yeah.
stretching myself too thin and learning to say no and setting up
Mm-hmm.
time limits. Like I'm not going to answer my phone after 8 p.m. I'm not going to email back. If they email me after 7 o'clock, unless it's urgent, I'm not going to email them back till the morning, and then waking
Yeah.
up in the morning and doing my morning practice, like getting up and reading the Bible, working out, taking a shower, drinking my
Yeah.
coffee peacefully, which I actually have been bad about for the last 3 weeks, but I'm going to get back. Just been really busy. See, it's so easy to slip back into it.
Yeah.
But by me taking that time to just like wake up, don't check Instagram until after I've showered, after I'm ready, those things really help you to not, or to avoid burnout and to not get burnt
Yeah.
out.
And then, depression can be a big piece of it. And I don't think
Mhm.
that depression is always as obvious as it sounds. Okay. I think that people think, oh, yeah, depression. I know, people are depressed. They have this idea of it from a movie or something like that. But it can really be just a disconnection feeling in general, and just not feeling as much of the joy, and just not feeling as happy, and just not feeling as motivated as you used to, and not being driven. And I felt a lot of that this winter, and it's been difficult. And I at one point realized, oh yeah, maybe I am a little depressed right now, you know, identifying is first step in the right direction.
Neal, sorry, I have to interrupt real quick. I have one thing to talk to you about. All right.
Rachel.
I know. Okay. Have you had a client call you late at night trying to figure out how to get their video posted onto Instagram. They're like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't figure out how to get the video on Instagram. Can you help me? And I'm like, oh my gosh, you have to download it and email it to yourself, put it in a Dropbox
yeah.
folder or Google Drive. And they're like, I don't know how to do that. And I'm like, pull my hair out. Okay, we have a solution for you. HD Photo Hub came out with an app where
Yes.
your clients will download the app in the Apple Store or the Google Play Store. It's free for them to download, and they can access all of their media from this app and download it straight onto their phone. All the photos, they can place orders online from the app. You're literally in their pocket, and it makes it so easy for them.
And it's white labeled with your info. So it looks really cool that you have your own app. How cool is that? So, and what else is sick about this is because you're listening to Shooting the Shit, if you set up a configuration call with HD Photo Hub and mention Shooting the Shit that you heard about it from us, you're going to get a crazy discount, 33% discount, 1,000 credits for the app, which is a smoking deal.
It's
So
normally
freaking-
1,500 credits, you guys.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah,
such a
so
good
that's-
deal.
that's
Take
pretty
advantage.
sick.
Get the app today. And that's a one-time fee and you're done.
You're going to look slick too for all your clients. You got your own white labeled app. Who is this guy?
Right? You have an app? That is absolutely fabulous. No pun intended.
Cheers to that.
Okay, back to the show.
For me, it wasn't necessarily from burnout as much as it was from trying to do a lot of new stuff. Okay. A lot of new things and not having a lot of traction and a lot of success with the new things. And then going into a slower year off of that than any of my previous years. And I think it just kind of wore me, kind of slowly hammered me down a little bit. And I became disconnected and I'm slowly I feel myself coming out of it a little bit, but it's hard because it is still very slow for us here. So it's hard to disconnect, to separate the success from the money when the money isn't coming in. It's really hard to do that.
Mhm.
But I did try to start to tap back into some of the things that bring me joy. And I did try to start tapping into, again, some of the health stuff like exercise and a bit. That's another thing that hasn't been helping me is I don't think I've been in worse shape my whole life. Like I went on a bike ride with my sister and my brother-in-law. We did a fat bike in the snow thing, which is awesome. Like this is something that's ideal. I love that. And I grew up loving mountain biking and stuff, but I was miserable because I hated how I felt. Like I've never felt like that terrible. It was not fun. Like I wanted to quit. And that's not normally how I am. I'm like, guys, I think I'm just going to quit. And they're like, what? And I just was like miserable. And that's not me. Right. So I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do this challenge. I've only done it a couple days now, Rachel, but I'm trying to do this this trend going on. The 30 minutes after you wake up, you get 30 grams of protein and you do a moderate paced exercise for 30 minutes.
I love it.
So I've
Yes.
just been doing the exercise bike. And what I like about this plan is it's funny because what my brain will let me do and what I'll let myself get away with is that it has to be in the first 30 minutes that I get up. And that's helping me.
That's
because I
helping
can't.
you.
Yeah.
I'm like dead when I wake up. Like
Oh yeah. Oh,
I'm like,
I'm
coffee
not a morning
now.
person, but it's just the fact of that for some magical reason, it has to be in the 30 minutes. I'm like believing that. So I'm doing it. If I don't, 10 minutes are going to go, an hour is going to go by and then I'm going to get caught up in something else and it's not going to happen.
No,
So I'm
I get
getting
that.
up
I get
early
that.
enough
Yes.
that I'm like, okay, I have to do it early enough before my daughter gets up because
Right.
I have to do it in the first 30 minutes. And so that's actually helping me.
That's
and I'm
great.
like, totally got hooked by an Instagram post. It was like, if I could patent this, I would. But this guy, so-and-so wrote a book about it and you do 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes. And I've never seen the fat fall off women's bodies like this. And he's talking about women. And I'm like, I'm in.
I'm going to try it.
I'm
Good
one
for
of
you.
those women.
Heck yeah. No, I do know what you mean about that because I wake up and I drink my coffee, do my reading, whatever. And then usually I get up at like 5:30. And then I need to be, when I have my kids, I have to be working out by 6 or 6:30 at the latest to be ready to take my son to school at 7:10. So it's
Yeah.
like, if I don't get in the gym by like 6:15, it's not going to happen. And then I'm going to think about it all day and be like, oh, now I got to do a workout when I get home tonight and I'm going to be tired. I don't want to do it. I'm going to like dread it all day. So it's almost like do it now or forever hold your peace.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It ain't happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Exactly.
So yeah.
No, because I know I'll be like,
something
oh, I'll do it after this thing. And then something will happen and there goes the whole day. And I'm like, how did I miss a whole nother day of exercise? Because I've been doing that for about a month since I got my gym membership. I'm like, another day went by and I didn't go to the gym? What happened?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So Neal, let me ask you this. Do you think part of your depression is because you're dreading what happened in the past?
Oh yeah. Well, it's a good point, right? Folk thinking about the future instead of the past. Well, and I may also be seasonally affected by the winter as well. I mean, honestly, it gets dark and dreary in the winter. And am I thinking about failures? I'm not thinking about like failures of the past, but I may be living in the future. I may be wishing I think that's where I am, is wishing like, how am I still here? How am I not progressed more? Why am I still living paycheck to paycheck, even though I've done better than I thought I would ever do when I first started doing this business? It's still not enough. And I think that can be depressing, but also the challenges that I set out to get past that this last year that didn't succeed, that's been hard on me. And I think that that's where I'm at. It's like, you feel like you're beating your head against the wall a little bit where you're like, really? I'm still doing the same as I did less than I did the year before that, So I think
that was majority of real estate photographers though. Like we did almost 30% less last year than
not everyone, but not everyone.
But most, a lot of companies did a lot less. And that was just the market.
It's true.
So
and give yourself some grace, right? Give yourself some grace. Yeah. So I've been trying to, but it's hard because the other day, part of my positivity I had the other day, and I said, you know what? This is it. I'm accepting finally that like, I need to move forward and I am going to find a way, and I'm just going to start fighting again. It's like, cause I'm not living, I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck for my whole life. It's just, I'm at an age where you're like, really? You didn't think you'd be doing this, still at that age. Right. So that's where you beat yourself up for some of that stuff. But I've accepted that, like, you know what? Money's okay. Cause when I get the money, when I finally succeed and hit my stride, I'm going to do great stuff, man. I'm going to help people. I'm going to do great stuff directly for myself and my family and my extended family. And I'm going to help raise people up however I can. And I'm going to just get more and more hungry to grow however I can to do more of that, because that's what excites me, is helping people. So I'm like, when I thought of that idea of you can do more with more money, it's like, oh yeah, like there's no reason to be afraid of success. I'm going to stop always having one hand behind my back because I'm worried of, I don't know, something. I'm just going to go. Just let it be. You're
such a good person at heart, Neal. It doesn't matter how much money you have. The more money you have, it's just going to amplify what a great person you are. Really. You're not going to let it go to your head. You're not going to turn into some monster. You remember our episode on,
if I do, I know that you will slap me in the face, and every friend I have will. So
I will come.
I know that much.
Bitch slap you, Neal.
Yes, 100%. I will be accepting any bitch slaps for any kind of behavior. Yeah, like that.
Well, yeah, I think a big part of depression is you kind of get wrapped up in the past and you kind of dwell and like look back and like, oh, I should have done this, or I could have done this better. So like that's always been me. When I get depressed, I start like thinking back to past things, which you can't change the past. I can't change what I did back then. I can't predict the future. I've said this on the podcast before. Like anxiety comes from worry and like worrying about things that are not right in front of you. Right. So like worry is kind of just a complete waste of time and energy, when in the reality, you should just be getting to the now, like living right now, like what you have right now, right in front of you is the only thing that you can do and actively work on. So like in this exact moment, if I were sitting here worrying about the next part of this podcast we're going to talk about, I wouldn't be present talking about getting in the now. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't be able to be my full self because I'd be thinking too much ahead and in the future. And that's exactly what anxiety is. It's just worrying and worrying about the future.
Yeah.
So a way to get back to living in the now, we have a couple bullet points here to go over, Neal. One of them is practicing mindfulness. Do you want to talk about that one? Do you do that?
No.
I love your honesty.
No.
I do not.
So the mindfulness of focusing on your own self, like that whole thing.
Yeah.
No, I really
and like bringing
don't.
your awareness into the current moment. So like when I'm driving in my car, if I'm like worrying about something going on around me, I just like grip my steering wheel and I'm like, feel the steering wheel, feel how the steering wheel feels in your hands. Like look at the trees around you. Like it's so basic, but it like distracts your mind from worrying about all the other crap going on and brings you just like right into this moment right now, you know?
Gotcha. No, I've never done, I can honestly say I've never done that. Not that it is anything, if it works, it works. I don't, that I'm in the moment. I'm trying to think like when I'm out working, I'm good. I think that I have something to focus on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's almost like a distraction in a
Yeah.
sense.
So
'Cause
I
you're
have
doing
this,
what you can do every day with your eyes closed, pretty much, right? Like
yeah.
that's easy. And you're interacting with a client. So it's,
What's
you know,
hard is doing the things I know I should be doing. The going out to shoot is not hard. The editing, not hard. What is hard is figuring out, is not going and hiding in a corner and just hoping that the phone rings, is to actively like going out and trying to solve the problems and to get more clients or find a new solution or
like
find
marketing your business kind of stuff.
marketing my business is hard. Those things I just like, I don't have the drive for those. And I don't know why that is. It's so bizarre, but it's like, it sounds like that would be a good thing to outsource, right?
Yeah. But if you aren't making enough to outsource it, it's kind of has to be on you until you can get there. So it's, yeah. Is there a way that you can gamify it and make it fun or like set up time slots where you have to work on it for 1 hour a day? Like make it a priority and schedule it in. So you have like a 1 hour a day. I'm going to work on my newsletter or a social media post or whatever, an email campaign to send out or.
Well, what's been helping me feel better? I don't know. Those things do not sound fun to me, honestly. But what's been helping me like feel better, which gets me to a place where I can do more, was starting to tap into some of my joy, the things that make me really happy. And that of recent was, I was on a shoot and with one of my realtors, and she said this funny line. It just came out funny when we were doing the intro to go, into the house. And she said something like, I sat in it and you're going to love it. Right. And that was the line. And like, I just bust out laughing and we were just joking about the line because it sounded ridiculous. Like, I've sat in this house and you're going to love it. Like all you got to do is sit in a house and it's perfect. Yeah. Like Goldilocks. And there was a group of us and we're all just like joking. Somebody said the Goldilocks line. And I started doing my redneck character, like, y'all got to sit in it and you're going to love it. You know what I mean? And we're just dying for like 15 minutes, like just razzing each other and stuff like that. And that kind of motivated me. So I'm like, being silly. I need to like tap into that more, and the comedy stuff that I used to love and I don't get to do as much of. I had a vacant house for one of my listings, which we don't have as much here. So I took the opportunity. I didn't have anything else, just that one shoot going on. It was on a Saturday. So I spent a couple hours trying to do this ridiculous video of this redneck character thing that I used to always do in comedy back in the day. And it's funny because I'm rusty as hell. Like I didn't pull it. I was like, oh, I gotta get back to this, but it was fun to do it and put it all together. And I spent way too much time filming it, way too much time editing it, but I was having fun and I was like, tapping into that fun stuff. And I'm excited about tapping into, and I don't know why it hadn't hit me earlier, but I was like, oh, I should just start doing some reels on how agents can be better on camera, because all the time, that's why I have fun when I'm doing listing videos. I'll help them. Like I enjoy helping them with a couple tips and tricks I have to help them do a walk and talk, or how to not feel so awkward, or how to be better with the way the line came out to not sound like a robot and stuff like this. So that was really like, okay, cool. So I've been excited about that stuff, and that's helping me kind of come back, if you will,
Good.
to
Yeah. And I have
being
to say,
excited and motivated.
yeah, and that reel that you made was great, by the way. You guys should watch it. It's on Neal's Instagram, the HYN group. It's so good. I was like, oh my gosh, Neal, how long did that take you to film
Oh,
and
oh my
edit?
God.
Whatever. It
Yeah.
was so
And well,
good.
and I did it all by myself. So
Yeah.
it's one of those
Crazy.
ones where I filmed two characters. So it was me and my brother, and my brother's a redneck character. So I was filming it all by myself, which got a lot more confusing in my head than I realized it would, when I was like, wait, what line did he say before? Because I had to like react, because I was trying to do a couple of the shots where we're side by side, you know.
Mm.
If you just do them individual, it's a lot easier. But I was trying to make them so that you looked and reacted and stuff like that. And I got like, wait, oh boy, and how's the timing going to work on this? And you have to stand in the right place so I don't get out of frame, and all that stuff. So it was really fun to do it, but I learned a lot. One of the big things I learned from it is that, Neal, don't just, improv the whole thing, because it gets real messy, because I'm used to improv. I should have scripted more of it. It would have been a lot easier had I done that. So, but it was
Yeah.
fun.
I can't
Yeah.
believe that wasn't scripted. Like, I don't know how you did that. That's crazy. But I love that. That right there, Neal, is like you're making it fun. You're finding a way to bring joy into your work. And maybe that's the way you market your business. It doesn't have to be cold calling or emails or like these boring things like basic posts on
Yes.
social media. Maybe you just bring out, that's what you love to do, the improv and the sketch comedy and stuff that you did in your background. Like that brings you
Yes.
joy. So bring that into your business. Like, I
Yeah,
love it.
exactly. And so that's one of those things I'm like, you know what? I've always been afraid of it a little bit, because it's like that same thing with realtors when they're afraid to have fun on camera because they think they have to be business. It's the same thing for me. I was a little worried, like, this is going to be too far for people, but I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, you know what? Forget it. I'm going to have some fun with it.
Yeah,
I'm going to not
be
go
you,
too
Neal.
far. I'm going to not go
Be-
too far, because I can go too far, but you know what I mean? Cause
Yeah.
I gotta just, it's ridiculous to not tap into that when it's such a
Yeah.
big part of how I identify myself.
Exactly. And
So
by you being you, you're going to attract people, like-minded people, just like you.
yeah.
That's
And
one
the
of the
agents,
modules in my Mindset Mastery course, by the way. I think you should take my course, Mindset Mastery.
I should.
Yeah.
And the agents that work with me, they know we have fun and we silly and we laugh and we're ridiculous, but
Yeah.
the others don't know. Not necessarily. You know what I mean? If
Yeah.
they don't see that
They
I'm
will find
doing
out.
that. So
Sooner
yeah, I
than
need to put a little more effort into that. It takes more time, but at
Mhm.
least I'm enjoying those things. And the tips and stuff for realtors, I really like that too, because it just feels good. And again, it taps into that thing and I can have fun with it,
Yeah. Okay, so I think you're on the right track, Neal. And listen, if making one of those little back and forth comedy reels takes you a week, it's probably more than you did the week prior when you were trying to do traditional
right.
marketing. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
Like, just who cares how long it takes? Just do it. You'll eventually hit your stride and you'll figure out ways to make it more efficient to film those.
Yes,
It just
exactly.
will take time. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I'll get
So,
better and faster at it, and
yeah.
less
All right,
rusty. The more I do it, the funnier it'll get, hopefully.
Yes. Sorry, I got a new chair and I'm freezing and I'm like so fidgety over
Yeah,
here.
would
so
you
I
just
apologize.
pull a pillow
I'm
out
like,
of
gosh,
somewhere?
yes, I had a
What?
pillow behind my back. I'm like, all right, now I can relax a little. Anyways, getting situated
Yeah,
in this
so
new office. Okay, so part
so
of getting back to living in the now is practicing mindfulness. A big part of mindfulness is meditation. And we had a whole episode also on meditation. So if you want to listen to that, we'll put that in the notes as well. But meditation, basically, you just lay down, you're quiet, you're still, you think of one thought for an extended period of time. Like 10 minutes a day has so many health benefits. And it sounds crazy and it sounds weird, but if you're ever feeling overwhelmed or stressed, or you just need a minute, like laying down in bed, putting on some spa music and just taking deep breaths, just start at the top of your head, feel your head just relaxing into the pillow, go all the way down your body, feel your shoulders relax, your arms, and just slowly go down as you're breathing deep. It's so relaxing. And like 10 minutes of that feels like a 30 or 45-minute nap. Like it can just totally rejuvenate you. And like I do this in my car between shoots sometimes because I just get like so pent up. I'm go, go, go. I've been going all morning, getting the kids ready, my workout within work. And it's like, oh, and then I have a 30-minute break between shoots. And sometimes I'll just recline my seat in my car and just close my eyes for 10 minutes. I set an alarm because I will actually fall asleep, but it's like the best 10 minutes just to like recharge and get grounded.
Yeah, you know what? I think I can relate to it because we did practice in actually one of my like acting classes in college. We did learn some forms for like Tai Chi. It is a very kind of similar idea that there's very simple movements and it's quiet and it's just breathing and stuff like that. So, and it
Mhm.
does feel really good. I've always really liked the idea of Tai Chi since then. So I guess I can totally get how that would work. But yeah, I've never like done the like thinking about my hands on the wheel and all that kind of stuff before. But I have done some like deep breathing stuff before when you ever get like, if I'm ever like, but that's usually more for me like stress that I'm
Yeah.
doing like,
Yeah.
okay, let's take a couple breaths.
Yes.
And that does
Oh,
help.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or like
Yeah.
before I'm filming for the master plan or something, I'm like looking in the mirror, like, you're fucking awesome. And you're going to kill this. You are going to do so great today. You're going to do awesome. Come on. Let's go.
Right.
Like, it's so
Oh,
cheesy. And if anyone saw me do it,
uh-huh.
I'd be like, this
Oh
girl's
yeah.
bonkers. But
She
like,
lost
you
her
have to pump
mind.
yourself up before these things. Like, it's not
Yeah,
easy.
you
None of
do.
this is easy, but, and it
It's
takes a lot
intimidating.
of
It's
like,
scary.
yeah,
Yeah.
digging deep. It's good when you can like
That's
discover
a
that
good point.
boundary and go kill it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a good point for everybody too. If you're ever like going to get in front of camera or something like that, you know, a lot of people have this misconception when they see an actor or an improv person or somebody that they're doing it that, man, how are they not afraid of that? That's usually not the case. They're
Mhm.
actually quite afraid, especially right before going out. I definitely remember the fear sometimes more than others, just overwhelming you at times right before like curtain call or something like you're like, oh my God, what's happening to me? So it's a challenge that you all face. So it's normal to have that fear. You just gotta push past it and get out there and know that you're gonna excel and you're gonna get it done.
You're gonna go
So
be awesome.
yeah.
Ah. Okay, so one other little tip for living in the now is to remove your distractions. So, like, let's say you
Mm,
have a 10-minute break, 20-minute break between shoots or whatever, whenever you have a break. Instead of picking up your phone and scrolling on social or trying to squeeze in another 15 or 20 minutes of work, you can
mm,
go outside and take your dog for a walk. Or, if you're between shoots, like park your car and go walk. If it's beautiful out, like go walk around, go get 10, 15 minutes of sunshine and a brisk walk. It'll help you just really to be more grounded and it kind of clears your head. Like it's really good for the soul to do that too. It's that whole thing of like not overworking yourself, be careful because burnout is like a creepy little monster that will just invade. So this is one tool that you can have to help you just not get into that like burnout mode.
yeah. Get a break from your phone. I know
Yes.
the phone is so hard when you're
My gosh.
trying to be active on it and all that, but then you just so many times I just get on the phone and I go down a wormhole hole and then I go, wait, why did I pick this up in the first place? I had an intention to do something, short and simple and productive, and then I didn't even do it.
Okay, so my assistant sent me this little reel today, and
Mm.
it's just a group of men. They're all like cheersing and like applauding and looking at you, going, "Yeah, yeah, good job." And it says, "Round of applause because you're just scrolling, acting like you don't have a million things you need to do." I was like,
Right.
"Dang it, she got me." I was like, "How did you know?" Because we do. We all have a million things to do, yet we still like find time to just scroll on social media,
Oh yeah.
which, yeah, set those boundaries, right? So, all right, Neil, let's talk about your why, because this is
Mm,
what kind of drives us, and this should be your base for like why we're doing what we're doing. And we kind of already touched on this a little bit, but
yeah.
your why is what is driving you to do your job every day. It's not money, it's not fame, it's not, any of those things. It's more like your family or to have a better lifestyle or to like
Mhm.
actually help people and contribute and give back to the community. Like it's things like that. It's that deeper desire of why you're doing it. It's like when you're feeling like you want to quit your job, you need to reflect back onto your why and remember why you're doing this because that's what's going to pull you through those tough times and it's going to remind you of why you're actually doing what you're doing. And if it's just money or it's just fame, like that's not going to be a strong enough why to carry you through those rough patches and get you through it to see
Right.
the
Right.
success. So yeah. What's your why, Neil?
Well, you know, it's always to help people is the core. There's two things that I love. I love helping people and I love entertaining people. Those are the two. So if I'm making people laugh, I feel pretty good. And, if I'm helping people succeed, I feel pretty good. If I'm tapping into either of those, I'm doing well. But yeah, it's easy to get disconnected from those too. You just end
Yeah.
up doing something for the money. What about you, Rachel? What's your why?
It's for the fame. Okay. I have to say it's for the fame. No, I'm kidding.
You're already
Um,
famous, so now
oh,
what are you gonna
right.
do?
Yeah, right.
That is the problem, though, right? If it is for the fame, then you get famous.
Yeah. I
Then you
know.
realize that okay, I've got fame now. Now what do I do?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. No, mine is a big part of mine is for my family. And so that I want to be able to provide for my family and live a comfortable life and be there for my children. Like, so my kids are a big one and my husband. Like, I want to be able to be present and be able to like provide, basically. And then I also love helping people. I'm like always trying to educate my brokers, help them, give them any kind of tips I can. Like, everywhere I go, I just am always trying to help people. So I've always been kind of not necessarily like a fixer, but like when I see a problem and I know the solution, I always want to like, if I can help in
Mhm.
any way, I want to contribute. I just want like I've been in really bad situations and in really low dark places. So when I see other people in those areas and I've already overcome it and figured out how to get through it, I'm like very excited to like talk to that person and try to help lift them up or even
Yeah,
encouraging people to go after their dreams. Cause like I never in a million years thought that I would have this business or be where I am today. Like
yeah,
honestly, I had no
yeah.
idea that this was going to be my trajectory, and
Right?
I like a bad situation turned into a good outcome. I got divorced and I ended up starting my own business and it was kind of on a whim. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do real estate photography. People were like,
Yeah,
you're crazy. It was like, it's going to work. And I believed in myself and I just went for it, you know, just
yeah.
pure
You never.
determination and listened to a crap ton of books on motivational stuff and anything that would lift me up. Like I didn't listen to anything negative. It was like, nope, blocking that out. I've had enough negativity in my life. I'm not allowing that in. So yeah, if I can contribute and help people to inspire, I think inspiring people would be one of my main, like,
Yes.
I
No,
think
you're
that's
right about
the
you're
real
right
one.
about the inspire part too. You're
Yeah.
right. I should say that too. Is That's a big part of what the summer camp was always that too, to kind of inspire the kids to be themselves and to
Mm,
just be brave and know that they can get after whatever they want to get after.
mhm.
So, and that they should, and to have the
Yeah.
courage. So
Yeah.
yes, definitely.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
this is another one. We already said this about like ask what people would say to you about your funeral, but
Mm,
a good way to figure out your why is to ask your good friends. So not your spouse or your family, because they'll just feed you what you want to hear. I mean, maybe they won't, but ask your friends. I text two of my friends and asked them this last week because I was
oh,
prepping for this and it was really
yeah.
interesting to get feedback.
Yeah.
And they were so detailed what they wrote. I was like, oh.
Really?
But you ask them why you are friends. Like, what is it about me that you like in our friendship? Like, why are we friends?
Interesting. Interesting.
And
Yep.
they'll respond with a couple generic answers and then just keep pressing them and say, but what else? What makes me a good friend to you? And you can tell them, like, I'm doing some homework and trying to figure out my why. So this is going to help me figure that out. And once they start talking about themselves and how you help them or make them feel, that's the gold. Like, once they start talking about, getting deeper, that's where your true why is. Like, that's why people love you.
You
And that will
have
help
to
you get.
tell us what they said, Rachel.
Okay,
Come on.
I have to get my phone.
Hanging on by a thread here.
Gosh, I'm gonna have to scroll through some text messages. I texted one of my friends. So here's what I wrote. It said, hi, I'm doing an exercise to figure out my why statement. Found it on YouTube. Can you tell me why we are friends? What you like about me? And she wrote, I like everything about you. Like generic, right?
Right, right, right.
You are honest and a true and loyal friend. I admire you as a business owner. You have great laughs. You are super kind and fun to be around. And I said, thank you, back at you. And she wrote, I also think you are super open-minded and not closed off. Okay, she's from the Netherlands, so explains this. I also think that you are super open-minded and not a closed off American. She said, I respect that you chose yourself over a marriage and made a living for yourself by picking up a camera. And I said, thank you. She said, do you need more? I said, no, that is perfect. Thank you. So
That's
that
nice.
was, yeah.
I feel like this might be a harder challenge for guys.
Yeah.
If
I mean, it's a little
like guys are just gonna be like,
uh, yeah.
hey, if I ask my best buddy, hey buddy, why are we friends? And he'd probably respond something like an inappropriate graphic picture of something, or he would, if he was in
Totally.
front of me, like present, he would be like, I could, like, I don't know, slap me in the face. Like, you know what I mean? This is a male show of affection. It would be, something like that. I don't know how
Gonna
the
be a
guy,
little gonna be a little harder to get the men to really get
yeah, to get the
emotional and
real
open up.
answer and
Yeah.
not some joke about it.
Yeah.
That's what it would be. It'd be a joke about all the things that are terrible about you would be the
Right.
compliments you have to like figure out where the compliment was there from that.
Exactly.
That's how
Exactly.
guys work.
Yes, for sure. Okay, I have one more if you want to hear it. This one's a little lengthy, but does it matter? Should we add it in or no?
Let's do it.
Okay, so here's one more. So, Rachel, I think that throughout our entire friendship, we have never spent more than a few months in the same general area. We have lived hours from each other, different states, and now different countries. We have gone years without talking. We've always been in different stages of life at different times. We just get each other. There has always been a draw towards one another, always lifting each other up and rooting for the other. We have just stuck with each other, or stuck to each other, excuse me. Each of us have unintentionally hurt the other, but we've forgiven and moved on. We've been tied to each other since the day we met. I've learned from you. You inspire me and your strength, ambition, and vulnerability. You inspire me with your growth in the Lord. There's no need to pressure from the other one. We know that we both love each other deeply and that we have someone in our corner always cheering us on, never judging us and always wanting the best for each other. So nice. So
Yeah.
like the same thing I was saying, like I inspire people, right? With my growth and like the things. So
This would be,
these are fun exercises. Try it.
I know what my best friend's answer would be. If he were to give me any answer besides slap me in the face and tell me to man up, he might say, listen, dude, what the heck? I don't know. Because we're both idiots. What are you even talking about, dude? That would be his answer.
Way too deep, man. Way too deep.
What are you talking about?
That's
Isn't
so
Game of Thrones on?
Hey, honesty. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's when you keep pressing, Neal. Just keep saying, no, I need you to go deeper. Like, really, why are we friends, man? He'll be like,
I can't picture, unless we're on our deathbeds.
Yeah. Men just don't do that as much as women.
No.
Like women are so much more emotional creatures than men. Most, not all, but most.
But we know, though. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like my best friend. Like, I don't have a worry. Like, I know that we just get along great. That's why we're friends and we're always there for each other. And I know that he would murder people for me. That's how guys know that they're good. Like, if I needed him to murder somebody because something really bad went down, he'd show up and I'll show up. That's it.
There you go.
Murder is how men judge if we're friends or not. Murder.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. So we got to close this up, Neal, because it's getting late. But we have a book for you if you want to read a good book to help you figure out your why. It's called Start With Why. It's by Simon Sinek. I think I said that right. We will add a link in the description down below and you can buy it on Amazon. I do have an affiliate link and I will get paid if you buy the book from the link. So
fancy.
Yeah, I know. I'm all serious and legit now.
Y'all fancy.
I gotta make some money, Neal.
Girl, you fancy.
I need that Lambo. No, kind of giving up. I don't care if I get a Lambo.
That girl read these books.
Yeah, gotta read more books. So yeah, so have fun with your why, you guys. I would encourage you to go out and ask your friends. Like, just tell them you're doing some research for your trying to write your why statement. Dig deep, ask them, see what they say. If anything, it's just nice to hear nice things about yourself. If you have good friends, if your friends don't like you, you might find that out too. Maybe you'll no longer have that person as a friend.
Yeah, I'm not asking any of mine. It's a good question. I've been meaning to ask you why we're friends.
Okay, I'll text you. So yeah, I guess, if you're starting to feel like you're drifting and you don't know where you're going in life or why you're doing what you're doing, then just remember to go back to your roots and always think about your why. Think about why you started this thing. Yep. And remember to spend time with your friends and family because they are really the most important thing in life. Like the relationships that you cultivate are really what you're going to talk about on your deathbed. There was a survey done. Forgot to mention this. It's a 90-year study, and it started when these people were teenagers, And now they're like in their 80s and 90s and they're starting to die. And they asked them on their deathbed, what is their definition of success? And they all said their relationships that they've had, like 95% of them. Like it's not money, it's not fame, any of that. It's the relationships that they've cultivated.
Yeah.
And
Except for the
people
one
they've
guy who,
connected with.
except
What?
for the one guy who said, winning the Super Bowl.
Well, you can't bring the money with you. So like when you die, I mean, really, it's like
No,
you're gonna,
totally.
yeah, winning the Super Bowl.
And listen, if you need to do the why we're friends question, you just need to have a good friend like Rachel, because I could ask Rachel those questions. She'd give me answers. So we could always do that too. Cool.
You're a good listener, Neal. That's one of my reasons.
Oh, thank you,
You
Rachel.
listen to my BS. Let me ramble on.
I think that is a good thing, though, for a real good friend. Both sides, you have to have a little give and take on the listening and the talking. Otherwise, it's probably not a great friend.
No, exactly.
So you are the same, my friend.
Oh, thank you. All right, guys. Well, good luck with your why statements. We will be accepting posts on Instagram. Go follow us at Shooting the Shit with Rach and Neal on Instagram. And we're on YouTube as well if you want to watch this video and see our beautiful setups, because we both have legit studios now, which is, I'm like very proud of my studios.
Oh, she trumped me. I was doing so good until Rach just went one step above. You got to check it out. It's legit.
Yeah. And I'll have links to my whole setup on there too. If you're interested in my lighting setup or any of that, all those links will be in the description below. So you can pick that up. Neal and I are working on something. Do we want to talk about it, or should we just wait? Should we just leave him hanging for one more episode? Let's wait.
Things to come, guys. Things to be excited about. All right.
But I'll say this, my one module of my course, Mindset Mastery, is like, I have to record one more lesson and I have to write my little email campaign. Sales page is done. All the descriptions are done. All the videos are in. All the worksheets are done. Like it is ready to launch. So excited. Mindset Mastery.
And you know why she's got so much motivation to do this is because she genuinely, is good at all this mindset stuff, but also genuinely wants to help people with it. So how can that not be a win-win, right?
Thank you, Neal. Thank you.
Yeah,
yes.
Of course.
I'm very excited to release this, and I just want everyone to have the courage to just hop on social media and start owning it and living your best life. And that's exactly what this portion of the course does. So, and I'm selling it in mini courses, so you'll be able to just buy it when it releases, or you can buy the whole thing at the end, whatever, but it'll be a while before it's all out. Takes forever. Anywho, all right, guys. Cool. Well, enjoy the day, and we will talk to you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.
Well, say that again. That was a weak bye. Bye.
I was just a spit take on my computer.
Bye. Okay. Bye. And now we're really signing off.
No, it's like in my head thinking about what I had said before. I'm like, did I say the right thing? That's why. So, all right, ready? Bye. See you on the next one. That was like way too big.
All right. We'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.
Bye.